So let's do a case study and discuss a little bit more on how to apply what we have seen so far in this first course, what you have seen in this first course. We will talk then about the matrix organization, the core three, and the project types. So we talk then and see how this can be applied in reality. But before we do that, I will actually talk a little bit about Agile also, an Agile mindset, because we think that this is very important in general, and we will cover it more in other courses. But also to do this exercise, I think it's good to actually have a quick look at this one also, what it is. So an Agile mindset, what's that? Well, we believe that to be able to be fast, dynamic, open to change, and really be able to maybe lead the market or at least follow the market nowadays, the whole organization needs to be agile. Not only working in the teams then. So when we talk about agile, we don't only think about, or shouldn't only think about the actual teams doing the work. I mean, using then the typical agile methods like Scrum or Kanban or something like that. Because we want the whole organization to be agile and have an agile behavior, as it says here. So we're not talking about doing agile, we're talking about being agile. It's a behavior, and that's the agile mindset we want to see. So everything we do on team level, on project level, on management level, on corporate level should be with using having an agile mindset. So people should be open to new things, continuously want to improve, continuously be flexible, be open for change, be open for new things, etc. And that is being agile. And that behavior we want and need to see then to be up to date as a company organization in general. And another way of, or continue to talk a little bit more about Agile, we could talk about what we call plan-driven management compared to value-driven. This is quite well-known ways of calling this. Personally, I'm not totally happy with this way of differentiating between plan-driven and value-driven, because I think also plan-driven is actually focused on value and has always been since long time back. But that's how it's called, and we will leave it at that. So in let's say if you talk then to the left here, plan-driven. What's this? Well, this is the typical, maybe classical, structured way of managing a project, the waterfall model, so called. We don't like to call it waterfall, we call it structured. But it's then called then by some people then plan-driven ways of working. And in that case, we actually have the requirements and the scope is fixed in the beginning of the project, and then we calculate based on what we have then defined in the beginning, the cost and the time for this project. It will cost that much, and it will take that long time to do it. And the requirements are sort of, the scope of the project is fixed in the beginning. I still think that even and then here we should of course be able to adopt changes, and we do using change requests and so. But in the beginning, when we plan the project, we have that set requirements and scope, and we calculate cost and time. When we talk about value-driven or agile then ways of working, it's the other way around. That time and cost is fixed, and we calculate then what can we do considering the fixed time and cost we have. And what does that mean, for example? Well, typically when we talk about agile, we work in teams, maybe cross-functional teams, and its cost. The cost is fixed in the sense that the team is fixed. So, for example, if you have a team with 5 people working, the cost for that team with the 5 people working is fixed then over a time period. And we can also maybe say that we are going to do this during, for example, half a year, during 6 months. And then we can divide this fixed time into different time slots or sprints, as they're called, then using Agile. So, for example, every month could be a sprint, or we could have every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks also. But typically 2, 3, or 4 weeks are how we divide then the timing in the projects. So, but it still is fixed. It's fixed in the short term then for each sprint, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, and also for, let's say, the long term here then 6 months. And the cost is fixed, and also because the number of resources we have working here is also fixed. 5 people in this example. And then depending on then if you say then for the coming 2 weeks, what can we do? So we calculate then the scope and the requirements. So the things that we then tell this team to do or agree with the team to do would be the things that we have in our so-called product backlog that with the highest priority at the moment. And with that, we then calculate, okay, we can do this or we can do that during the coming 2 weeks. And then when those 2 weeks are finished, we go for the next 2 weeks. And what can we do now then? Yeah, we can do the coming things on this priority based product backlog. So these are the fundamentals of plan-driven and value-driven, and the difference then between a structured way of working and an agile way of working. In GPM, we talk about 3 project types. Actually, we could say that we have even 5, because on top of these 3 that you see now on the screen, structured project, agile project, and hybrid project, we could also talk about programs, and we could talk about something we called R&D, GPMM R&D 3.0. And GPMM R&D 3.0 is actually a mixture of when we have projects, we have teams, we have programs, and we have the portfolio, and all of them together, how that works together. We will cover that in a special course, a separate course, but here we will get to see these 3 to start with. The one that I just mentioned, and the special one, is actually aligned with some, maybe many of you know SAFe before, Scaled Agile Framework, and then the classical ways of working and PMI way of working, because we think that this way, how we define it, is very efficient than using both traditional, let's say, project management with the latest in Agile, and put those 2 together, and we get then this what we call then GPMM R&D 3.0. But we will not cover that one here, but we will cover these 3. Structured project, agile project, and hybrid project. The structured project then is this what we have seen so far in the course here, with the steering part, the product management part, and also the yellow part. So this is a classical waterfall then, if you like, project, and can be managed. And this one we do typically when the scope is quite fixed and all well known. We don't expect big changes to the scope anyhow. And also when maybe we have a lot of people working, could be a good example when we should apply this one. But if the scope is very uncertain, we will expect a lot of changes, and maybe we don't have that many people working either, maybe only 1 team or maybe 2 teams, then we could let each team work and manage their ways of working in a pure, let's say, agile project. In that case, we have then these sprints, as I just mentioned, like for example then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 week sprints, and we can see then that the deliverables out of this team will gradually be built up. So we see that this green hexagon is growing here as we go along, and yeah, that's the typical way of working when we have agile ways of working in the teams. It can very well be combined here in our way of seeing it here then with toll gates, as you've seen here then in the course previously, and we will see in the following courses also. We still need to make decisions. Shall we really start up a team like this? Shall we start up a project like this? And shall we close it down at the end? So why not use the toll gate model for making those decisions? But then what I think is very, very common nowadays, we have the hybrid project also, which is a combination of the 2. We still need to have good steering model and make good decisions, business decisions on should we continue or not, depending on the whole situation. So we have the red part here on top, then we have the blue part, the 10 plus 1 knowledge areas, so the 11 knowledge areas, and we manage the project like that. But we have a number of teams working, and the teams are working now then in the yellow area, and some teams could be using Kanban, some could be using Scrum like this, and others could be working in the normal way of working. So we could have lots of teams working in different ways, and on top we manage it and coordinate it using normal, as we have seen, then project management methods to keep control on everything. As I said, the 11 knowledge areas: time, cost, quality, resources, communication, stakeholder, etc., etc. So all of this should become used together then in this hybrid project way of working. This is probably, I think, actually in most cases the way how we should work nowadays. So the hybrid way of working is the one we recommend. Which you will also see in this coming GPMM courses, because in the case study and so we have here, it doesn't really matter. The case study we have there is a simple way of applying a hybrid project also, and because we have teams working, and it's not, I mean, it's very good that they are dynamic and so the teams and they deliver continuously, but we also need to have a good control what's going on then, and from the financial point of view and timing point of view, customer satisfaction point of view, etc. So the project manager has a very important role there to ensure that everything is well coordinated and that we have a happy customer at the end. So what should you do in this case study then? Yeah, have a look at the matrix organization, the core 3 model, and also how to apply what I just showed. So for example, we talk about the matrix organization then as the first exercise. You should think about then possible and typical examples of functional, balanced matrix, strong matrix, and a productized organization. So based on your own experience in your own company maybe, or where you have seen before, what could be a good example when the functional organization is the best way of working, when the balanced matrix organization is the best, when the strong matrix is the best, or when the fully productized is the best. The productized then meaning that there are only projects. Functional, there are no projects, only functional ways of working. You remember the exercise we did in the beginning of the course when we were thinking, oh, should we do it as a project or not as a project? So in a way, this is the thing. Functional, not project, productized, fully project. And then we have these two in the middle here where we mix both the functional and productized. With a strong matrix organization. Maybe you know what the difference is between balanced. If you do, perfect. If not, you will see later on when I present the solution. Well, a possible solution. There are, of course, many solutions here because you should think of your own way of working or your own organization. Then we have the core 3. Here also I think you should think of your own organization or your experience from other companies and so. Who would be the sales driver, the solution driver, the project driver, and the service driver in your organization or in other organizations that you know about? Think about who is actually should take on these different roles when it comes to the projects. From the pre-sales phase all the way up to when we deliver and finalize the project and conclude the project. So think of that, from pre-sales till the end of the project. Who would be who in the organization? And finally, what we just looked into, structured, agile, and hybrid. Think of when would it be good with structured projects? When would it be good with agile projects? And when would it be good with hybrid projects? And how could we also then use GPMM in each types of projects here? What good things from GPMM can we use in each type of project here? Structured, agile, and hybrid. So please have a look at these 3 exercises. So and then you can have a look at the scope. Solution, and then please have a look at these 3 exercises, and then when you have done it you can write on a paper or on a PowerPoint that you have provided here also in the resources in the course, and then you have a look at the solution video. There's not, of course, only one solution here. There are many solutions, but at least they'll present one way of how this could be managed and how this could be answered to. So good luck and see you in the solution video. Bye bye.